Imagine having a coding sidekick that understands your every thought and conjures up code like magic. Say hello to GitHub Copilot, your new code writing companion. With Copilot by your side, say goodbye to tedious tasks like writing boilerplate code or debugging repetitive errors. It's like having a team of expert developers right at your fingertips, ready to assist you in your coding journey. We all know the frustrations that come with coding, the endless hours spent debugging, the repetitive tasks that drain your productivity, and the constant struggle to keep up with the latest trends. But fear not, because GitHub Copilot is here to save the day. Copilot streamlines the coding process, speeds up development time, and improves code quality, so you can focus on what truly matters, solving problems and unleashing your creativity. Getting started with GitHub Copilot is a breeze. Simply head over to your favorite code editor's extension marketplace, whether it's Visual Studio Code or any other supported editor, and install the Copilot extension. Within minutes, you'll have access to a whole new world of coding possibilities. Start writing code. The engine analyzes the code you've already written. Based on the context, the engine suggests relevant code snippets. Sometimes there might be several valid ways to complete your code. You can then easily accept it by pressing the Tab key or Escape to reject a suggestion. Write a comment to create a React component. Copilot suggests an import statement, then proceed to craft the entire component, concluding with the export statement. Sometimes it feels like being on steroids, but if you don't generate 1,000 lines with Copilot per day, you can still claim being natty or all-time natural. Open tabs matters. Now, sometimes when you write code, the suggestions Copilot does won't make always sense. Some people would now claim that Copilot is dumb, gives a lot of wrong suggestions, but a tool is only as efficient as the user using it. If people never learned how to use it, of course it is easier to say that Copilot is dumb, but you have to really play around and learn how to use it. In this example, you will realize that open tabs matters because the suggestions Copilot does are context-based. Let's close the open tabs. Hit enter again and see what Copilot does now. Wow, now we get a different suggestions, which makes more sense. Let's take that and keep moving. Now we get the instructed function with the right logic. Let's output it and check if it works. There you go. Looks good to me. We get random numbers between the numbers 1 and 10 included. Like in a healthy relationship, sometimes you need to talk to each other why someone behaves in a certain way. Then you just ask straight what the issue is and explain what you have noticed. If there is hope, that person will be straightforward and tell you what is going on. If that fails, then you have to visit a couple therapy. Now let's write some test for the function getRandomNumber. Create a test file and insert the suggested code. If you don't know how to run the tests in Visual Studio Code because you are used to Visual Studio, then just ask Copilot in the chat. You can also select the code and click Ctrl+I and ask in the inline chat about the selected test code. You can copy the suggestion or just insert it directly in the terminal and hit enter. Now we get an error message, but don't worry. Just copy the whole error message and paste it into the chat. Copilot gives you an explanation what this error message means and tells you to install Mocha to solve this problem. Install it and run the test again. Now we get another error which is telling us that we didn't exported our getRandomNumber function. Now we have an assertion error. Let's go to the chat and type a terminal last command so that Copilot checks the terminal message. Okay, no idea what the output is. Just copy the message from the terminal and insert it in the chat instead. Now we got a different output which looks better. Go to your test file and replace the old code with the new one. Run the test again, and there you go. It succeeded, but it is not finished. With the console.log statement, it outputs always all test cases passed, but we only want to output it if the function does exactly what it should do. You can also ask for an explanation of the code for a better understanding with the explain command. Let's continue to optimize the code to only output the success message if the tests are successful. Let's write it in the chat. Or you can also write a comment. Notice that the suggestions don't seem to work. After the comments, it doesn't output code. Only comments for whatever reason. Now we need to find a workaround, which is changing the instruction, but it doesn't work either. Strange. Now most people would give up and say Copilot sucks, but not us. We know that we need to find out why it is behaving that way, or at least find a workaround to make it work. The comments look good. It should suggest some code, but it doesn't. Step into a new line and type Ctrl+I for the inline chat, and tell Copilot to generate code according to the comments. Wow, this worked. Finally, some code. Run the test again and check the output. It returns 4 and outputs test failed, which is not the right message. Get some explanation. Run the test many times again to check the output. Ask Copilot in the inline chat. Doesn't work? Ask the same question in the chat section. Understand the explanation and rewrite your prompt. Replace the old code block with the new suggestion and run the test again. Run it many times, and there you go. Now we get the output test passed, which is great. Let's return a number which is bigger than 10. The output should now be test failed. Wonderful. You can also get a direct documentation about a certain method. How awesome is that? It is a huge time saver. You don't need to research on Google or Stack Overflow and invest a lot of hours finding the solution. Everything can be done without leaving your code editor. It just took a few minutes to solve all these issues. And at the end of the day, you will be much happier because coding becomes more fun solving it that way than spending hours or days on finding the solution, or in the worst case, just failing and to need someone else to help you. Copilot is not perfect, but if you know how to handle it, it definitely is a game changer. You can be clueless, but with Copilot you can solve it. It is your best partner who immediately helps you when needed. You can also use it for some HTML or CSS coding. Add a comment and hit enter. Wait for a suggestion. Hit the tab key. Check your website. Modify slightly your comment. Delete the code and hit enter to get a new suggestion. Accept the suggestion with hitting the tab key. Check your website now. Okay, not perfect. It doesn't seem to be an anime image, but instead an image of a game, which looks cool too, by the way. Let's do some HTML modifications. Write a comment with instructions. Hit enter. Accept the suggestion. As you can see, Copilot can even write an article about cats. Let's do some code refactoring. Here we have a function with a cyclomatic complexity over 10, which is too much. We need to reduce it to under 10 for brain overload reasons. Let's write in the Copilot chat to reduce the complexity to under 10. Okay, we need to select the whole code and paste the same message again. There you go. We get an explanation and a refactored version. With the /doc command, you will get a comment explanation what the function does. There are a bunch of other features, but for now, that's it.